Hey everyone, it's DeagleBeagle. So today we're going to look at the top teams from EUIC, European. What does the U stand for? I don't know, actually. That's a good point. Europe. Oh, EU for Europe International Championships. So this happened in London a few days ago, and Paul Chua won $5,000. Okay, I have been seeing his and Agate's team a lot on the ladder. Hope I do because, like, if everyone's using the same thing, it's so easy to counter. It's only hard when, like, people use a variety of things. So, anyways, pretty standard. That's the thing that kind of bugs me, though, is that people can just use, like, a really standard team and do well with it. And I guess that makes sense. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just like yeah, I could do really well too if I just used the same team and used a really standard good team instead of spending time to experiment around, but I just like to learn new things instead of just placing really high in tournaments, but I might just do what they do and just use the same team and not really pioneer anything. So Paul Chua is a great player, but he's one of those types of people that he might like pioneer like one move or two moves or something, but he doesn't typically use anything that's that unordinary. But anyways, Roaring Moon is a little bit strange. He said he used it like a lot except in finals, which I find that really surprising. But uh, it depends if it's attack raising or not. It probably is considering how it's Dragon Dance. I mean, I could see that. It's good versus Amoonguss. If it's not intimidated, it's good versus Arcanine, or even if it is and it Dragon Dances. I mean, it just depends on how low Arcanine is, and it doesn't usually run Citrus anymore because it normally runs Goggles, so it's less bulky and it does resist like Palafin and whatnot. And with Dragon Dance, it could outspeed like a Flutter Mane. So actually, yeah, if you switch it in on the right time, it could be really good. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with it. Sand Tomb, I think that's mostly for the trapping feature, like secondary effect. I don't think that's really for the damage. But if you do miss it, you can use Stomping Tantrum to do double the damage. Um, I don't know exactly why. Maybe there's something I'm missing about Sand Tomb. I believe it's a ground move that traps them in for a few turns. Yeah, 5 turns. Wait, what? No. Oh yeah, it's Sand Tomb. So I mean, actually, it does do a lot of damage over time. It does get stabbed and does do damage over time. If like Ting Lu's alive, yeah, that residual damage actually adds up and it traps them. So it seems like a pretty good move. I gotta test it out though, cause I swear I've seen Sand Tomb um, on someone else's Ting Lu too. I want to say we'll see Agate's team soon. It might have been his. But pretty standard everything except I mean Stand 2 maybe that's going to be standard now, but I don't believe that was standard before he used it cuz I haven't seen that much of it on ladder. It was probably mostly fissure in that slot and or throat chop or earthquake or something. And or rock slide, yeah, or rock tomb. That's probably more common, but now it might be a lot more common to see sand tomb, but I don't know. Yeah, this seems pretty standard. Um, I know he didn't use Sand Tomb like Paul did, But Howl, by the way, they tested it. Leonard Kraft tested it, and Howl doesn't boost your ally when your ally has a sub up for some weird reason. I guess because of the sub, but you would think it would work. I don't know if Howl is Howl a sound move? Sound moves Bulbapedia. I don't think it's a sound move. Maybe that's why. Oh no, it is a sound move. Then why does sub block it? I don't know. I almost feel like that's a programming glitch. But anyways, I was thinking it might be a sound move, but then that's so weird. But anyways, clear, yeah, Baxcalibur with clear amulet. That's one of the things I listed as a paw counter. I called it Palafin Amoonguss Arcanine because it can't get Will-O-Wisp, it resists fire and water, and has an ice move versus Amoonguss, but Amoonguss can survive one hit from it, and if it uses Terra Water, it can survive easily and put it asleep, so it's not like a counter necessarily for all three. Other things are a better counter for all three, like Garganacl with Terra Water, even though you have to use a Terra. With Terra Water, Fissure, Salt Cure, you beat that. And okay, Stone Edge is a pretty good move with Tinglu because if it misses, you can double with Stomping Tantrum. So a miss with Stone Edge may not be the end of the world, even though you could also use Rock Tomb, but Stone Edge having the high crit and high power, yeah, that's there's nothing wrong with that. How's good so that you just like boost um your attack and you prevent them from just using a bulky stall team. And other people I've used Howl to great effect, like Lorcy, Joshua Lorcy, and other people. Definitely can't sleep on that. Okay, this guy's got third. Oblivious is pretty neat with Dozo to make it not intimidated, which, yeah, might be more useful than Unaware, but when Dozo was more common, Unaware is probably better, so you don't, like, lose the mirror match. But if you have Glimora anyways, he probably figured, since I have Glimora anyways, I'm probably not going to lose the mirror match. If you do use Dozo, yeah, it's probably good to use Glimora, though, to... Well, actually, Glimora Dozo is very common, so... I mean, Glimora can absorb the toxic spikes and whatnot. I don't think Glimora is that great of a Pokemon because everyone's using like Amoonguss or whatever. But if you're using it a lot to attack as well and not just relying on the toxic spikes, then yeah, it's a pretty good Pokemon. So overall, pretty standard team. Except he's lucky no one was using. It seems like if someone used Clear Spog Amoonguss, he would maybe lose, but he does have Chi-Yu and stuff. Okay, and then this team pretty similar. Wait a minute. These look like the same teams. Let me go back. Yeah, they probably copied each other. Like they have the same exact thing. I don't think that's a coincidence. Well, maybe, but because the Dragonite's a little different, but whatever. Oh, I already have his. So Murkrow used to be the one to use with Choice Specs, Terra Steel, Goldango, but yeah, Talonflame's good as well. Pretty standard stuff. Terra Flying. Maybe that's for Fissure. And after you get chipped to resist fighting and for does he use a Groundmon? Okay, that's why. Also for Garchomp. Nothing wrong with that. This looks pretty unique. I mean, Terra Electric's... I think why he used Terra Electric is because if you're trying to wall a flying move, then you can wall that and only have one weakness after that, like a Dragonite trying to hit it. But then if you need to counter fire moves, you have Aqua Berry. So that's actually really ingenious. This Terra Electric Amoonguss with Aqua Berry. You kind of counter fire and flying, which are the main weaknesses of it. And hmm, pretty standard other stuff. Not much to say about that. Lumberry is good so that you don't get put asleep or burned. And it means you get more fissures. So James Evan used Heavy Slam over Volt Switch. Both are good, but I would prefer Heavy Slam because you can manually switch, and Volt Switch does give you some good pivoting, but I don't know. I might want Heavy Slam for the Flutter main because it's so damn common. Because it might have to switch out manually anyways instead of Volt Switching when they got like Will-O-Wisp Arcanine. But overall, really good team. Seems like. But yeah, let me go back to that team. He used Terra Water, Tinglu. I assume it's mostly because it has good defensive typing and it complements its current typing. Like it being resistant to water once it tears, but it being weak to water before that. So water is decent. Nothing's necessarily wrong with water. It does counter like Palafin and Arcanine a little bit better, so that's probably why he ended up using it. Paul Ruiz. He used Roaring Moon too. So there's two Roaring Moons that did well for Top Cut. Covert Cloak. I'm almost surprised he used that. It is good versus other Icy Winds and Fake Outs, but a lot of times the Fake Outer is Iron Hands and that kind of counters Bundle. I think, he might have used it to counter Mortal Spin, and something else. Snarl, and there's probably other things I'm forgetting about, but I guess it's not that bad. And then we'll look at probably just the top 16 teams. But you're seeing like almost every single team have Flutter main. It's just kind of funny. It's good, but I don't think it should be on every single team. It's just, I think people like it because there's a lack of good Pokemon that are like really strong, fast special attackers besides Flutter main. And I think people just realize Specs is just really good with it, especially with the Ruins meta. It's just Fairy's just really good, and it being able to switch out of Perish Trap stuff or immune to Fake Out. I mean, I originally used it because for all those reasons, Fairy's really good offensively, and you can use it with like Terra Ghost, Talonflame to be all immune to like a Fake Out lead. So lots of good reasons. Except I think Thunderbolt's good, but I think Energy Ball is really slept on because it goes through the Rage Powder. But Thunderbolt is good because it does take out the flying types. But for me personally, I probably wouldn't use it because, like I said, they could just Rage Powder and then you don't do anything really to the Moongus. So personally, I would use Energy Ball to kill Palafin or whatever through the through the rage powder. But like I said, they might use it for like Gyarados or Terra Flying Dragonite or something. Okay, and let's look at the rest of the team. So this team does seem a little bit weak to Amoonguss. I'm trying to think of how he would beat Amoonguss. He has Taunt, but and Chien Pao, but if it Terra Waters, then it seems like Terra Water Amoonguss would just beat this team. But maybe he just uses like Chien Pao plus like doubles up on it or something, or tries to taunt it, like I was saying. So I guess that could work as long as they don't have Mentor. But like hardly anyone uses that nowadays. And then let's see. Pretty standard Terra Fire. He uses Lumberry, but this guy uses Terra Fire. Maybe that's for Will-O-Wisp after the Lumberry gets popped, so that he's like always immune to Will-O-Wisp if he wants to be. But I'm not. Oh, I think he also uses it to resist the Flutter Mains, because Fire resists Fairy, which it's weak to. So yeah, Fire seems pretty good with it. There's a lot of good terrors you could run with Tinglu. Depends on the item. If it's not Lumberry, then Grass is pretty good. If it is Lumberry, then Fire or some other Terra could be good. But otherwise, like the Assault Vest one is usually Terra Poison, but Terra Fire might be better than Terra Poison because of the Will-O-Wisp issue. It depends on if you have Fissure or not, too. If you have Fissure, then getting burnt isn't a huge deal. So I'm almost surprised that he's trying to counter Wisp so much, but maybe he's not really. Maybe he's more trying to counter Fluttermane. But yeah, I would probably use Terra with Tinglu that resists Fluttermane. Otherwise, give it Terra Grass. So I don't know if I agree with Terra Water, but Palafin is used so much also that it both makes sense. It's just I personally would not probably try to keep Tinglu in versus Palafin. You'd probably more want to keep it in versus Fluttermane, because you might really need to lower its special attack for your ally. But for Palafin, you don't affect it with Tinglu's ability. Now, Alex Gomez, he has this team, Terra Steel. I think Terra Steel is pretty nice. It does resist freeze dry, fairy moves. Was it weak to rock? It resists rock. And electric moves would do neutral. Citrus berry, I guess citrus is fine because let me see if it's fine or not. Oh, he doesn't use two things immune to spore off the bat. I don't. Oh, actually, he does. No, he does. So he uses safety goggles with hands. I didn't see that at first. So citrus probably makes more sense than Lumberry because he's not using Dragon Dance, and he can. If he's gonna get statused, he could either taunt or he could switch out to Iron Hands or Amoonguss a lot of times. So that makes sense. I'm considering dropping Protect on my Amoonguss too, because it seems like I kind of want Clear Smog, but I also want Pollen Puff, and it just depends if you need Protect or not. Since if it has Terra Water, since it has that, you may not even need Protect on it. So that's what I'm probably gonna do, is just drop Protect on it, and then let's see. Overall, this makes sense. Like a lot of people are using Chi Yu with Focus Sash, and they're using like Terra Ghost with it. I suppose that makes sense for the Chi Yu Fluttermane combo. For me personally, I would probably want to use Life Orb with Terra Dark just because I'm a power player and it can one shot like Arcanines and stuff. But the Sash is definitely good. And then, leftovers. I don't know if I would use leftovers with it. I would probably use, like, oh, he already has citrus on something else. Okay, maybe. But, like, leftovers on Chiyu doesn't really make sense to me because it's not bulky and it lowers its own special defense with its ability. Um, Maybe with offensive pressure and stuff, but I don't know. I would probably instead of leftovers, I would give it like more bulk and then give it a life orb or something, but it just depends. And then Terra Grass, yeah, probably to be immune to Spore, even though he does have Taunt Gyarados and Corviknight with safety goggles and Amoonguss, so maybe he doesn't need Terra Grass with Tinglu, but probably wanted it as an extra thing to counter or to go through the Rage Powder. With safety goggles? Yeah, I guess I could see that. I don't know. I don't know about. With Terra Fire, maybe Roost makes sense, but I just don't know about Roost without. Oh, maybe it's fine. I was gonna say like Roost without like either Bulk Up or like Citrus Berry to keep it alive, but maybe it doesn't need that. And then yeah, we're seeing a lot of Iron Hands with Safety Goggles, Terra Fire. It's probably to beat Wisp and Amoonguss. That's probably the best way to use it, honestly, because you go through Amoonguss. You don't have to Terra to go through Amoonguss, and Terra Fire is there in case you need it versus like a possible burn. But otherwise, you would counter like Palafin and Amoonguss and hit their ally through that. So it makes sense. I gotta write that down because Terra Fire hands with goggles does something that Lumberry can't do. I use Lumberry and Charlotte because, well, that was a Trick Room team though. That's a little different. And this team though might want to hit through the Amoonguss, especially since it isn't a fake out one. And overall, the team looks pretty good. Pretty standard though. This team, hmm, pretty standard. A lot of defensive Terras. Not much to say about that. They're just pretty standard in general. Not really pioneering anything. I'm almost surprised that people run goggles with Chiyu. I guess it's so you can like switch in on a Amoonguss or something. But like if you already have it out, you can use a fire move. I suppose it's to set up on the ones that use Terra Water. Like if they Terra Water, I mean. Looking at the rest of his team. Rock Tomb. That's a good move with it. He uses a lot of people just spam Terra Water. Like it's good, but I don't know. I would have to think about it more. But Terra Water with Chiyu and Amoonguss and with Tinglu, and already having the Gyarados on the team. Not sure. And then the Terra Fairy. Why is he using Terra Fairy? I don't know. I almost feel like there's some dragon move I'm not thinking of. Terra Fairy. I mean, it just has good defensive typing in general, but I don't think Fairy makes sense to me. It resists fighting and dragon. Maybe he had problems with some dragon Pokemon, but I just don't see it. Maybe it's for the whatchamacallit, Dragapult? So he could have two Mons immune to the dragon darts? I don't know. Should ask this guy. Terra Fairy. Yeah, I don't know. And then probably I don't want to like say he shouldn't use 3 Terra Waters because I don't know his team. I need to ask this person before I like really judge him. But that would be a question to ask. And then last team I'm gonna go over Nick Navarre. Howl. Ooh, Howl. Assault Vest. Alright, so I guess he uses Assault Vest with the impression that if they use, like, Arcanine, he can use Lumberry King Ambit and maybe beat it. We're seeing a lot of these Terra Dark King Ambits with Sword Stance. I guess that could make sense, but I'm not sure about that. It does make it more powerful, though. Seen a lot of Terra Grass Arcanine. I think it's for ground moves and Palafin, even though they have goggles. Drain Punch. Wait, why did Palafin use Drain Punch? Water. What resists water? Water, Dragon. Trying to think of what it is. It's not Pokemon like Tyranitar because it's already weak to water. Let's see if I can figure it out. I'm like so tired, but water. What does fighting? Well, okay, dragon, grass, and water. I don't know what Drain Punch is for. Dragon, water, grass. Let's see. I don't think it's for dragon Pokemon. Is there some grass Pokemon that's weak to fighting? That's used a lot? Not really. Brute Bonnet, Wokuien. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with Drain Punch. I would have to ask about that one. And then, what was it, water? Maybe it's just so it doesn't kill itself with Wave Crash. Oh, it might be for bundle. I wonder how much that does. And like Gastrodon and whatnot. So yeah, let's calc that really quick. I need to Drain Punch Palafin. Wasn't it? Yeah, Mystic Water, yeah it was. Palafin versus I'm so tired. Iron Bundle. Drain Punch. That barely does more than Wave Crash. In fact, it does barely more than it the Terra Water Wave Crash. Am I thinking of this right? Oh yeah, that's why. Yeah, so it it would do enough to where you could finish off a bundle with Jet Punch, but I don't know if that's worth it. Maybe barely, but you would have to survive the freeze dry first, and Iron Bundle could just have like Terra Ice freeze dry or whatever. I don't know. So I would have to test it. It might make sense in cases where you don't want to have to use a recoiling move and other reasons. So cool teams, guys. Yeah, a lot of people just use the same teams they've always been using, like Alberto and Justin, and until they win a tournament with it, and Carson, other people, they just use the same teams. So, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next video.